Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Alright, so we've got 15 minutes until market open here. I'm going to get some quick analysis before market does open. Looks like we've just ran higher from yesterday. Look, I'm also right. Extend this out a little bit so it's a bit easier to see. Obviously we still have the, get rid of this. We still have the new week opening gap here. Again, we can draw out the quadrants in case we do come back down here, but not, given the bullish news that came out this week with the Trump China deal, which has sent both China's market and the US's market, you know, into bullish momentum here. You can see from this big move. So there's nothing really on the daily that we need to mark out. Obviously, we have this break already marked, and then this is all huge gap. Really, it's a huge void of liquidity. So I'm just going to move this over today. Tuesday, 10 AM. We are. So H4, what do I see in the H4? I see this big fair value gap right here. Mark this one out. We're also rejecting off. Hang on, let me change my right over here. There we are. It's better. Yeah, so we're rejecting off this H4 here. Oh. This range still stands, this large range here. I still doubt that we're going to come down today, just given by how pre-markets performed. And I don't really want to see shorts. Let me actually mark it. There is no daily rejection work to mark out. So, I mean, just by going off this, we're going to be looking for longs. Just further into all-time highs. We have FOMC, and let me just up the calendar here. So today we have some orange folder, and then tomorrow we have FOMC. Thursday and Friday there's nothing. So again, we'll take a little bit of caution today. Coming into FOMC tomorrow, the day before FOMC tends to be fairly choppy, and I used to avoid these days, but since I've started streaming, I've decided to, you know, come on the charts anyway and just mostly tape read. But obviously, if we see anything pristine, I definitely won't mind taking it. So we're on the M15 here. I can mark out some liquidity. So we do have London low. London low. When is this orange folder? Like 40 minutes. I'm actually just going to put this over the microphone real quick. Hello, hello, hello. There we are. That should be a bit better, so you won't hear me breathing down the microphone. down our face a little bit too. So M15. We have an M15 gap here that we rejected off. Assuming there's going to be some kind of lower time frame inversion, which we'll look into and see if it was a nice pre-market play. Let's see if this range, honest EQ. No EQ there, so this whole range is valid, at least for like short term. There's not really much liquidity, to be honest. So we're on the M5 here. See a large amount of trendline liquidity here. So I'd like to see it run lower. If we come down and take this low, we can mark up a different range. So we could mark up this range potentially. See if we've came into EQ. Yeah, we do want to see longs. So let's look at 8:30 open price first. Where are we? Yeah. 8:30 opened here, and it looks like it manipulated downwards and expanded. So we should see a 9:30 expansion. Let me just double check my cheat sheet. Yeah, so we should see a 9:30 expansion here, which isn't really great for us because it means we probably won't get an entry. Which would have been the second day this week that we hadn't got an entry. So I'll mark up this big M5. There's no SMT here. There's no SMT at the highs either. There is an SMT here, but this was yesterday. Alright, well, we've got 6 minutes here until market open, so let's just see if there's any sell side liquidity that we could have taken, or if we do just end up getting a run higher. Mark out this M5 here that we rejected off as well. As it is like right in discount. As well, it lines up perfectly with the new day opening gap as well. Obviously, we have a low. If we came down and we took this low here inside this M5 gap, I definitely wouldn't mind it long. I wouldn't really want to see a huge inversion here though. We are currently rejecting off this M1. Where's EQ of this range? Out of curiosity. We haven't balanced it yet. I'll draw a separate line for EQ, and then we'll see this. But honestly, even if we just came down and tapped this pre-market range EQ, I'm feeling a little bit more of this M5. Oh, and it's a market open. Just consolidate in here during the lead up to market open. Like I say, I'd like to comment. I'd like to see a small price run down here with potential inversion. If we came lower, even better, really. Yeah, I wouldn't mind this. Looks like we're just going to keep going higher here. One minute. Oh, 30 seconds. All right, there's market open. We're just going to run higher. Yeah, oh well, it is what it is. I honestly just going off this. I don't think we'll get a trade today. We're just going to keep pumping directly into all-time highs. There's nothing really I can do. If I'm only looking for longs, then I'd need to see a retracement and now again. But I kind of just need this to be a sweep or it to sweep soon, maybe in the 10 o'clock macro. But It makes the EQ of this range a little bit more doable, but there's no really, this sell side lined up powerfully with it. Although it is quite minor. This is some nice liquidity here. I do find it quite frustrating when price just doesn't do what I want. Keeps running into all-time highs and doesn't come down to provide an entry. And then you can't like short the sweep because some highs you're acting off. It's automatically lower probability if you're trying to short all-time highs. You know, trying to call the top of the market, even if it's just for a short-term reversal. Honestly, you could just blindly long this, and you'd most likely just be more profitable than trying to even get an edge. That's not advice, by the way. Don't do that. Right. I would absolutely love a pullback right now. I'd even take this. I'd take this, dude. Measure up a fresh range. We move the higher market open. This does still sit nicely in discount. This sell side in M5 here. Well, I called the expansion anyway. See, if this was reacting off of a high time frame gap instead of all-time highs, this would be valid. Obviously, it's definitely not valid. But if it was rejecting off all-time, off of a high time frame imbalance, yeah, this would have been a valid short play. You don't take those rejecting off highs though. There is an SMT as well, so yeah, it would have been valid. Would have been a valid short. Trying to short all-time highs is crazy though. So we do come down to this range here. Again, this is a valid M1 if we weren't rejecting off of all-time highs. But we are. So this isn't valid. Like I said, there's an SMT. You've had a liquidity sweep. And now you've got an inversion value gap here. This is valid. There's only one good thing about price trading all-time highs is you're always looking for longs. You can't really get the bias wrong. Your bias is always wrong. Your bias is always long, and if you don't get, your bias is always bullish. And if you don't get the bullish entry, you don't take a trade, so you don't lose on shorts. And price always likes to just keep on running at all-time highs. So your long entry is most likely going to be a winner if you've got the draw and liquidity right. The draw and liquidity at all-time highs is all-time highs. So I've just seen on the 30-second here. So obviously this might look like an entry, but when you think about it, yes, we may have reacted off of EQ of this range, but excuse me. This might look like a valid entry here, but if you look deeper into it, you can actually see that yes, we rebalanced EQ of this range, but are you rejecting off of any imbalances here? M1, M2, M3. No, there's nothing, right? Yes, there's like a small M1 here, but it's tiny. You know, I know it's a BPR, but it's tiny. And there's I mean, it's just like one of those lower probability trades. Like obviously, yes, there is an SMT as well, but you've already had the closure below it, which means that it would have been an automatic loss. And if you're looking for like a rejection of a high time frame fair value gap like this M5 here, this isn't that. So you have a M1 imbalance right above as well. So you need to be waiting for these the time frame that's the highest with the gap here. So you had an M1 here, then you had an M2 right here. Like say right here, for example, is an M2. You need to wait for the M2 to close. Yeah, ES is running down right now. We're kind of sinking on ES. And this looks like a nice short setup. It really does. But again, all-time highs. I really do ideally want to see price come down here and take out this pre-market low. Sorry, this is pre-market low, but this low here inside of the M5. We've got 9 minutes until they're telling a macro here. Okay, so ES is still dumping here. So actually I was right about the M2. There is an M2 gap here. But there was no closure above. You need a full body closure above the M2 gap here if we're going to take this long. Even then, it's not even a good long. It's only a good long because all-time highs. Price is most likely just going to keep on running. Nothing here to stop it, you know. Like I could take this M2 long here just for the shits and giggles, and it would probably hit. It did close above, but it's not a great closure. Price is very slow. This is why you want to wait for like a solid closure too. Like we did close above here, but we left a big wick. This is then the price action that followed, low and choppy, following the closure above the M2. So you want to take a nice closure. So for example, this is a nice closure over this gap here. This is a nice closure of this gap here. This isn't a nice closure, so obviously right here would be a closure and then price chopped around for a couple of minutes, and then you want to wait until it goes above there. I do really want to see All right, so this is why you want to wait for a. This is why you want to wait for a. You have to excuse me. I'm still new to this. Go on. All right, so this is why you want to wait for a solid close above the IFEG. Sorry, above the FEG. So obviously, right here we had this 30-second, long entry. Not very good. It's there. So we didn't take this because obviously we've only swept this minor sell side, and it was a tiny little M1 BPR that we're reacting off of, so which isn't really good enough for like something higher time frame. So we didn't take this, and then obviously on the M1 we had this this FEG here. You don't take this one then because you have an M2 just above it. So you always want to wait for the higher time frame FEG to close above. Now we had the closure right here, but if you look at this closure, what's this? Wick, right? So you want to wait for a really solid closure above the gap. So I'll give you an example. This candle here, closure above this fair value gap here, and I'll drop down here. This one, you want to wait for a solid closure above the gap, which will signal the price wants to go higher. If you get a wick or like a small body closure above, it usually means that price is either going to chop around, which we did here for a couple of minutes, or completely reverse, which is and disrespect your IFEG, which is what price did right here. And this would have been a loss if you'd have taken this closure. Okay, so we swept some sell side here, and we did tap into this M5 again. Now, we do have SMT2. If we get this 30-second closure here, which we didn't, a higher time frame gap, an M1 and an M2. You see, you really want to wait for the M2 to close too, but again, it's pretty choppy. It's not great, and I would have liked to have seen this taken first. Anyway, here's the macro. I'm not writing down the SMT just because it's so big. ES has taken all of this, all the way up to this low. So if I wrote the SMT, it would just cross through all of this price action here. Which does make me think that NQ1's lower too. We might get like a 6 sister kind of setup here. Again, here's another example as to why you should wait for the higher time frame FEG close before taking an inversion setup. You have a closure here. This looks like a nice candle, but then if you go up a time frame, you see there's an M1, right? And we're rejecting off the M1, and then you go up again, and you see the M2. Yes, this looks like a nice rejection wick, but you need to see a closure above this gap to be able to enter a position. This isn't good enough. Like if you had your break even, even if you had your break even at this 30-second one here, we didn't even tap it. You wouldn't have even got triggered a break even. It would have just been a straight loss. I do want to see this taken. I really want to see this taken here. And tap into this pre-market EQ range. Like this just isn't clean, you know? In clean price action, you get a singular FEG to be able to take the inverse. Have a clean SMT, clean liquidity, cleaning higher time frame, the value gap to react off of. This is just not very clean. And that's why you have to be patient. If I was just jumping the gun at every IFEG I saw here, this would have been a loss right here, because you closed below the IFEG, which means that you'd have to close the position. This works. This saves you more times than not, by the way. If you then went long here, this would have also been a loss. because you're also reacting off an M1 gap right here. Stalling here at this low for some reason. So close. An M15 here too. There is actually. We move this down and mark it as an M15 instead, since these are a bit stronger. Dude, there's no way we leave equal lows here, right? There's no way. Come on, tap into this 15-minute and give us a nice singular inversion. All I want. Okay, there's pre-market EQ range, and there's that low inside the gap. And also we'll tap into the 15-minute. Now, what would be absolutely beautiful is if we came down and tapped this EQ. I wouldn't be too bothered. I mean, there's not even an entry here anyway. It doesn't matter. Is that the 4? Because there's 1, 3, 4. Again, there's nothing here to even take. There's no inversion. So there's no FEG to inverse. There's like one up here, but it is small. And like by the time you've inversed that, obviously you have a 2-minute as well. Like, $3 as well. Okay, so there is a 3-minute here. Which if this takes, okay, doesn't matter. Disregard everything I just said because what the hell? What the hell is that, dude? Here I am thinking I'm gonna get an entry. It just does that. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. It's not even news yet. News is in like 4 minutes. I mean, I was right about this area anyway. I mentioned that I wanted to see this low inside the gap taken and this pre-market range EQ for the M15, and I was right about that, but I didn't expect this shit. So what the hell, dude? We're gonna get the inverse as well, which is kind of annoying. This is just such a big candle. High in the range, you know? I would have liked to have seen this. Be able to capture this move. Obviously, they worked out this buy side here. It could just consolidate, or it could keep coming down. Like, you just don't know. The only thing that I could take here is like a 30-second confirmation if we got it. So like if we came down, rebalanced a little bit of this range here, then we get a huge wick on the M2. Look, no M2 closure. We inverse a 3, but then we're rejecting off the 2. And this is what makes like price complicated. This is what makes price complicated, because you've now got a rejection off the 2 here when you already inverse the 3. But because you inverse the 2, this is the only valid one. So because you've rejected off the 2, this is the only valid one. You've got to now wait for a closure back above this. Like, this is just not good price action. Even if you wanted to take this 30-second here, there's no entry. It didn't close above. And you know what? I don't even really like this for a confirmation entry. This is sort of like a you know, a lower risk play. Like if it closed above, obviously. I just think the price wants lower here. Three-minute inversion's invalid. The M5 does look quite nice, so you know we did wick into the gap. So I guess if we got this, I'd take it. Take a lower risk though. I'll let you guys know if I do end up taking this. I don't like the wick. I don't like how it keeps rejecting off this area. Like this is a rejection block here, and it's just rejected off the rejection block. Makes sense, obviously, but it's just not good price action. Even if we closed above this, like still inside this wick, I don't think I'd still don't think I'd take it, just because yeah, we're still rejecting off something. It needs to be a solid momentum candle here if I'm going to do this. Perhaps we come down into this. We have an M2 here, an M3 BPR. Or I'll mark out the M1 just because they were the biggest. They cover the biggest area. If you guys saw ES chart right now, you know what I'm saying about how they're so uncorrelated, and the markets are so uncorrelated. You want to sit out. So like we've got this less than ideal price action here, and then obviously ES is doing its completely own thing. It's just not very high probability conditions. Obviously, if we got something, I'm still waiting for something pristine, you know. Like I said, if I was going to take a trade today, it'd have to be absolutely pristine, and I haven't taken anything yet because nothing's pristine. So here's the 10 a.m. candle. Opened here, up there. So we might be getting a 10 a.m. PO3 here. What does the 4-hour look like? Huge gap. Makes sense. Makes sense. Make up your mind, dude. You want higher or lower? Again, no closure. Yes, this candle opened higher, but it doesn't count. This candle would now have to close like up here. Even then, like it's not good. Still too high in the range. Still trapped inside of this consolidation range here. It's just not great. This is the market sign of telling me to go and touch some grass. Maybe we get the closure we want here. No. Oh no. Didn't close above. It's going to be difficult here for us to get a closure above without it already running so high. Or with like a big wick. So up high. We come down, we rebalance this 30-second. Maybe we do get a rejection of this M1 here. This is exactly what the day before FOMC normally looks like. This is why I don't normally trade this day. Usually a complete waste of time. What are we doing? What is going on here? Nothing. Nothing's going on. Oh man, what's going on here? It's awful. This is awful. I'm on the 30-second here, which is the time frame I trade the most. And then I just see barcode. I got the M1 barcode, M2 barcode, 3 barcode, 4 barcode, M5 barcode, M15 Wick Central. What is going on here, dude? I wonder what the 15-second looks like. Oh my god. Oh, what the hell? I'm just sat here watching time distortion. Real time. Like, what are we doing, dude? You have any other news? Not today. What are we waiting for? We're just gonna form like a super tight doji. Okay, we finally. This is a nice closure above this gap here, but like, dude, you've not swept anything. You know, you've not even come down and tapped this gap here. Yes, you rebalanced DQ, but you've not like given us anything to react off of. And this is the only nice closure that we've had above it, and you're already fighting this consolidation here. And you've not had any confirmation that we're out of time distortion. This is still a very bad trade. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna end the stream here. I don't honestly. I feel like I'm wasting my own time at this point. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to take long unless we came and swept this low anyway, and then tapped into this gap. And even then, like, no confidence. This is just awful. All right, well, I'm going to end it there. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow on stream.